Hello and welcome. We have a game of Supreme Commander Forged Alliance here for you. And today I get 2 hours off of school for freezing rain, so I'm going to celebrate by casting this in the morning and then letting it upload through the day. So we have Rams versus Startup here on Red Rocks. Two very good players. Rams has always been a great player. He's played many games on FAF. Not impossible, but at least for me, almost impossible to beat. Um, and Startup is a Brazilian who is a new. Well, I don't know if he's new, but he appears to be new. But he's very good. He's beaten me. He's beaten a lot of other good players as well. And this is an Aeon on Red Rocks, so I'm already expecting this to be awesome. I haven't watched this at all, but I expect this to be great. You can see both players going second air. We have Rams, by the way, is Russian, so we have Brazil versus Russia here. So that's going to be interesting. We have 7 power. We have 4. So the same amount of power, both players with identical builds. Yeah, only a slight difference in the order. We can see both players sending early NGs to the middle, and we see Startup coming with Auroras as well. Looks like there was a pause there. I looked around for some ranked games in the vault, and this is the best one I could find. And like I said, I expect really good things, even though I've never seen it. So, Red Rocks, basically, the most important thing early on is to get to the edge and get an air factory up here, because that's really what you want. You want an air factory, not a land factory, because once you get a land factory and you've extracted all these trees, then there's not really much you can do with the land factory. With an air factory, you can keep making air units from up there. So, just a slight detail, and we can see. Oh shit! I didn't have that at +2, so I was gonna upload a different video, but then decided it wasn't good enough, even though it was pretty decent. I'm gonna upload this one instead. So see, here we go with Rams making the air factory, and I expect Startup to do the same pretty soon, because short of a drop, it's the only way you can get up to this ledge. It's like Certus Major almost, except here you're forced to do it. So lots of reclaim plans for the middle. These parts, this is where the map gets its name, the red rocks in the middle, worth quite a bit of mass, and it looks like Rams might actually not be spotted by Startup for a good long while, because they've sent their NGs to opposite ends. So it could be a while before the Auroras do anything. We see Inties coming out for Rams, no bomber first, and second Inti as well. See an Inti for Startup, and then a Scout. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bomber coming out next. Yeah, there's a bomber. So Startup might not be as experienced on this map because he's making a land factory. I'm not sure what you can do with a land factory. Obviously, you can get the NGs and make stuff, but then after that, your land factory is useless. You can see it looks like they finally spotted each other, and Startup is going to take care of the NGs, so good work. So Startup has reclaimed 930, but Rams has reclaimed more, probably because he's been reclaiming at his main. So he's got his air factory up and running. That was very fast. Now his bomber is coming out, but he's got 2 Inties as opposed to 1. So Rams might have air control. Depends on what the players do with their bombers, though. More Inties coming out for Rams, and he's teching a mass extractor. So this map is a lot about eco, but more things can happen. I like this map. Lots of people hate it, but I think it's nice. That's just my personal opinion. Looks like an interceptor from Startup gets through, and it takes care of the bomber. So despite not having air control, Startup is able to kill Ram's bomber, and now he's got 2 kills of his own with his own bomber. Might actually come back for more, but it doesn't. If it had landed right here, that would have just been unbelievable. So this game already heating up here at the 5-minute mark. See, Startup has his ACU in the middle, and he's going to be doing a land spam. Rams also with his ACU in the middle, but not really spamming anything at the moment. See the Hydra being taken for Rams. Looks like Startup has just managed to get his land factory up on top. See more teching for these players. So if Rams doesn't do something fast, he's at risk of getting run over in the middle, because Rams has more factories than him already. And Rams right now is just content with reclaiming, but that might not be enough later. See, yeah, we see some more tech to mass extractors. Rams is really forcing these out, and he's got a transport now. He's going to put some NGs on it. I wouldn't be surprised if now he goes for one of the side islands. Actually, I think it's kind of funny how people refer to structures such as these as islands, even though they're not islands at all. We do that on Settons as well. We do that on pizza. But it's just kind of funny. We see here comes the transfer for Rams. There's no way it's going to get challenged, and it looks like Startup is going for the other one. Not sure how Rams will challenge him for that, so looks like the islands will be cut evenly between these two players, and I expect Rams to be forced off the middle pretty soon. That'll be very significant because, actually now that I think about it, I think the only time I've ever beaten Rams was on this map. So that might be interesting to know. So we see Startup claiming the top island while Rams claims the bottom. So map control will be split evenly, at least until someone can decisively win the middle. And at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Startup. Rams doesn't have nearly the land units that are required, and Startup is sneaking around the side, getting past his ACU. So pretty much the only thing that Rams has going for him is better eco and getting this island. Although the island isn't really much of an advantage because Startup is about to get it, and he's getting the factory first. It's a good play. It's lots of power for Startup. This land factory is now useless, so that's the difference here. Rams built an air factory, so now he can still make air units out of it, and they're not useless. So now we see mass storage around the mass extractors, capping them, which pretty much only on red rocks you see this when the expansion maxes are so far away, especially these. These you almost never want to attack unless you have like unbelievable map control. So here comes Rams. The question is, does he know? He knows now, so he knows to get the hell out of there. And as long as Rams can outrun Startup's ACU, I expect him to be able to reach the middle. So Rams needs to do something, and he's making Tech 2 air. Let's see what he has in mind with his Tech 2 air. He's making an NG, so that might help, although Rams is going to get forced off the middle really soon. We see a whole bunch of interceptors. I think Rams definitely has numbers here. He definitely does. So nothing that Startup is going to be able to do about air. So Rams just decisively won air, and he's making more interceptors. That's surprising. When you have air control, generally you don't want to make more interceptors. You should switch it up to gunships or something, because now he's in a bad spot, having been forced off the middle, and now Startup isn't finished yet because his force can start running around on the water and causing all sorts of problems. You can see radar going up in the middle of the map. And we see Rams is trying to challenge, but that's going to be it's very idealistic. If you look at how much anti-air and auroras are already there. Startup actually hasn't gotten all the mass extractors yet, which is kind of funny. We see bombers out for Rams and gunships, so that's what I was expecting. So with gunships, you can either try to clean up this force or go after the ACU, although right now Startup should be closing the economic gap pretty soon, having captured the middle. He hasn't really done that much teching. And now Navy coming out for Rams with submarines. Startup also has Navy, but he's going straight to Tech 2. So we're going to see Tech 2 rush versus Tech 1. Gunships are rushing out to defend their base. So this is good because Startup has no hope in terms of air. So Rams should just be forcing these out as fast as he can. At this point, I think Rams needs to come up with one of two plans. He needs to come up with a way to snipe Startup or to somehow get back the middle, because that's really critical right now. But Rams still really does have a better eco because he has all these Tech 2 mass extractors that are capped. If we just take a look at the eco that we're talking about, Rams has plus 73, Startup with plus 57 despite having the middle. Although there's so much reclaim for him, it might not be an issue. See, Rams has completely saturated his island. Startup has done pretty much the same. Now Rams is also going to be forcing out the Tech 2 Navy. It'd be nice to see him take an engineer and just start reclaiming all this dead crap. So there's quite a bit of reclaim here. But Rams still with a very healthy look in this game. He's doing very well. He's got a very good gunship spam. With those, he could definitely turn the game around. We see a lot of anti-air in Startup's base, but he doesn't have the air power needed to counter pretty much anything. So he's making a cruiser. That'll definitely help, but there's almost no way that cruiser will be done before the air arrives and we see a transport coming in from startup, also very idealistic. It's actually going to be shot at by gunships. Of course, Aeon gunships are special because they can shoot at air. That's the one thing I can never tell. But here comes startup. He manages to sneak around. So I can never tell if it's Aeon gunships or whatever that can shoot at air. So Rams once again with just way too many innies. He has, how many are we talking about? This is 57 innies. That's ridiculous. And now he's got all these gunships coming in. Flak has been desperately spammed up. The gunships are forced onto the higher ground, but they're taking out the Hydra. They can take out a lot of power here. If startup can somehow survive long enough to get this cruiser out, it should be in decent shape, I think. He's still got the middle and a massive force. He should be using this massive force to attack Rams. That's what I think he should do. Maybe get Tech 2 land and some mobile flak, because right now he's in trouble of losing his base. Although it looks like the gunships have made a micro mistake and they might actually all die here. They're going to leave a lot of reclaim, and the reclaim from these gunships is going to go a long way to solving any problems that startup has now, because this is a lot of mass here. He needs to get reclaiming this ASAP, because that just made the economic gap even larger between Rams and startup. And looks like Rams has stopped his Tech 2 air. He's making a Tech 3 Mask Striker, so he's definitely going for the heavy eco. Still got his massive interceptor force, so still has air, although now it's going to be much harder to do another gunship assault with startup's cruiser in the area. So what has startup got? His ACU is kind of trapped by his own units. He needs to do something with all these Auroras. I wonder how many Auroras we're talking about. We're 127. Oops. 127 Auroras? That's crazy. If he's, like, I mean, seriously, if he just split these and sent like 50 down here and 50 up here, he could easily kick Rams out of the game. Looks like he's finally moving out, but a destroyer has gone out. That's going to make it difficult to get into the water. Looks like startup has managed to build up a decent amount of units, and he's got a Tech 2 land factory. This is what I was hoping for. And he's got some Tech 2 flak mixed in here as well. That's going to make it hard to counter it with gunships, and we see Tech 2 Navy just being forced out by Rams. So many injuries on it. See a destroyer coming out for startup, and he's trying to fix the economic damage that has been done. See patrolling to get those reclaims, so good. It's good play. Looks like there is no Tech 2 flak right now, though. With 2 destroyers, it's going to be hard. I think startup definitely lost his chance to move in. He could have moved in like 5 minutes ago and just destroyed everything. Still making some progress, but these frigates are going to do exceptionally well, of course. Aeon frigates do have the disadvantage compared to other frigates against Auroras because they don't, they have such a low fire rate, and we can see just by sheer weight of numbers, I think startup is making some really good progress here. 3 destroyers out for Rams, but he's unable to start any more. These point defense are going to make life difficult for startup, so he needs to avoid them, and you see him microing back. So very intense battle going on at Ram's front door here. He's got a Tech 3 Mass Extractor up and running. He's got another one, and he's making a third. Crazy economy from Rams, just crazy. Looks like the Tech 2 naval production might go down. I would love to see startup take some of these Auroras and just go around the side and take a few more. He needs to make this destroyer stop and take out the island. Lots of economy here for Rams. Lots of Tech 2 maxes and mass storage. Looks like Rams has realized the significance here, and he's just going to be running his destroyers away. That leaves his base open to attack, though. So startup is in an amazing position right now. He can literally do whatever he wants, so we'll see what's going on back at his base. Just a hard Tech 2 spam, same as Rams. So this game has definitely transitioned into a Navy war, and the destroyers are able to chase away startup's destroyer. But he doesn't want to just retreat. He's going to leave a lot of reclaim for Rams, and he's going to allow Rams to just build up. That's not what he wants. He wants to be able to get around and attack. And Rams now going Tech 3 air. That seems to be the logical step when you've got this much economy, and you've got so much power, and you've got some Tech 3 Mass Extractors. Got 3 working on the 4th. Rams' economy right now is just off the charts. He's got 13K in storage. I mean, he could probably build an experimental right now and be in a decent position. and he's on plus 171 mass. But meanwhile, Startup is only on plus 100 and I don't know. It's hard to tell because he's reclaiming. But the difference here is that Startup hasn't capped his mass extractors. He needs to be capping them with mass storage because he has the spare mass to do it. He's just not investing in that. And he must know how far behind he is in eco because he's scouted Ram's base multiple times. Here's a Tech 3 sonar, so this is giving all kinds of intelligence for Startup. And in Aeon and Aeon Destroyer fights, it's all about dodging the shots because obviously Aeon Destroyers don't know how to shoot at targets. And so I would have loved to see some more dodging from Startup, but he's got another Destroyer coming in. He can probably take out this one. Does so successfully, now he should go after this one. See if he can get it to a one-on-one. So Rams' Destroyer is on the brink here, and it goes down. So now it's just one single Destroyer for Rams. Another Destroyer coming out. So plenty of Tech 2 wrecks now, but I expect Rams to be there first because he's got NGs in the area. But whoever gets that is going to get a lot of mass from those dead Destroyers. See all these Oblivions going up? They look like spine crawlers from StarCraft. I've always thought they look kind of similar. Of course, a lot of people would get mad if they heard me making StarCraft references, but who cares? So this is going to be awesome if this works. So Startup hits a Destroyer with tactical missile, and I have to answer the phone. But that was really great. Hello? Yeah. Okay, that'd be good. Okay, thank you. For once, I couldn't be rude and just been like, get the fuck out, because it's someone I actually know. And if Startup does this, he just took out a Destroyer with 2 tactical missiles. That is just awesome. That should seriously be submitted to like Plays of the Week or something if we had that. But where does this range go? He doesn't really have the range on this thing, and he's already invested in 9 missiles. So even though he gave us some great entertainment with that, he can't really snipe any economy. He can probably land a missile like right here, and that would probably take out the mechs, but other than that, he can't even hit the island, so it's not the greatest placement. I would like to see it over here, because from here it could hit most of the mass extractors, although there is TMD up for Rams, so you could argue that it wouldn't be that effective. You can see Tech 3 power going up, and once that's finished, I expect an amazing air spam from Rams, who is still making Tech 3 mass extractors. How many of these things does he have? He has 6, and he's working on the 7th, finally spending all of it. It's because he's just got an obscene naval production. See so many interceptors once again. He's just been producing them non-stop from this air factory that he built at the beginning of the game. And we see Tech 3 air for Startup as well. If he can get the advantage in ASF numbers, he could be in good shape. See more missiles flying. But so many frigates have been produced, it's going to be impossible to advance with Auroras. See missiles hitting the naval factory, forcing Rams to waste mass on this. If more hit here while they're building the Destroyer, it could be very nice. See a second missile hits and it's going to be repaired, but that's just a huge waste of mass for Rams, mass and energy. So good work from Startup, forcing lots of mass and energy to be wasted. But Rams, somehow impossibly, I don't even know where these came from, is pushing through, and he's got absolute air control. This cruiser is going to have a field day just cleaning up interceptors. So the 13 kills already. The Destroyers are going to put an end to that cruiser's fun. Now we see some Transcenders up. That's going to do unbelievable anti-air damage. The Interceptors are running for their lives. So what can Startup do? Startup had this game won, I have to say. when he had the middle and he had the Auroras, he could have pushed around, but now pushing with Auroras is an impossibility because of this defensive line. And he just allowed Rams to build up a ridiculous economy, and now he's just losing to superior units. Once the ASF start coming out for Rams, which they have, the game will definitely be over. Actually, there's some already on the front line, so what am I talking about? All this Tech 3 anti-air, though, is going to make a big difference here with Rams not being able to use gunships or anything. See missiles flying backwards from startup trying to hit some of these destroyers. I don't think he's going to be able to repeat that, though. So many destroyers just produced instantaneously by Rams. And now he's planning on making a donut. This is like humiliation for startup. So we have to say startup played extremely well, but now there isn't really no way for him to come back into this game. Actually, well, he's going to be able to take these destroyers down because he hits another one with a tactical missile. It's just awesome that he almost took that one out there. So even if he comes up with a way to kill these, which he might because they're on low health. And now they're calling GG. Then Rams still has air control. And he might be looking to finish this donut. Startup is trying to make a GC. If he had made that 10 minutes ago, which he probably could have, then he would have won the game. Just marched right on in and killed everything. But at the moment, he's facing death from a donut, which is an embarrassing way to die. And I'm talking about a real-life donut. So he's going to die. He's going to lose this destroyer. And now Tech 2 point defense has been spammed up quite nicely. It's going to do some damage. That doesn't last too long. And we see the donut is almost done because Rams could just afford that with the ridiculous eco he had. He's up to plus 272. He must have every mech at Tech 3 by now. He has 7 Tech 3 mexes. He's got 3 Tech 2s, and it's all capped. Donut should be online momentarily, and it is. So, that's going to be the end. And if Rams can kill startup with this, that's going to be the ultimate way to win with style, and here it comes. Although, the most hilarious thing would be if it actually dies to all this anti-air that's been built up, but it certainly won't die. And for some reason, startup self-destructs all of it, and unclear if he actually knew about that donut arriving. Startup is not going to like this, because the donut is just going to waltz over, and that's it. It's a 35-minute game on Red Rocks. And Rams wins against Startup in an Aeon on Aeon. So hopefully people enjoyed this. I thought it was great. Startup had some great entertaining moments in there. So see you guys later.